Hello, hello, hello. It is Alexis, your BCBA bestie, and my BCBA other friend, Josh.
Hey, hey.
So, Josh is a BCBA. He's been a BCBA for a few years, but Josh, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yes, well, hello, everyone. As Alexa said, I'm Josh. I am a BCBA in a school district in St. Louis. And I make 3 years as a BCBA in just a few months.
Woo-hoo. And do you have what is your clinic experience?
So my clinic experience has only been as an RBT. I don't have clinic experience as a BCBA. However, it is coming because I just accepted a job in a clinic, so I will start getting that. But yeah, that's as far as my clinical experience extends.
And what made you go from school to back into the clinic? What is causing this change?
Honestly, it's just a lot of barriers in the school district that just impede me from like really doing what a BCBA should be doing in a school setting. And I don't feel like I'm helping my students out the best way that they can be helped because of policy this, policy that. If I try to do this to help this student, can't do it because of policy this or because the parents this. There's a lot of politics in the public school system, and it's really just impeding me from doing my job. So I feel like I'm plateauing as a BCBA. I'm not growing anymore. And so I want to go somewhere where I'm going to grow as a BCBA because I'm still very young in the field.
True, true. Um, well, thank you for that information. And then what school did you go to? Did you go to online, in person? How'd you do your ABA classes? And what is your master's in?
I did in person at St. Louis University, and my master's is in applied behavior analysis.
Perfect. So today, me and Josh are going to talk about and provide our thoughts on inappropriate sexual behaviors. Woo. So, me and Josh both have experience with teenage clients. Josh, do you have experience with adults?
The only adult I really had was 21. So
Anyone? Okay. I will probably say that's maybe the same for me. I would say probably 18. My practicum experience was more focused with teenagers. So as you can imagine, sexual behaviors happen when they are teenagers as well. So I haven't gotten into the adult population. And Josh, your practicum experience, what age range did you focus on?
it was mainly 4 to 6 years old.
46. But nonetheless, we both have we have experience and thoughts around inappropriate sexual behaviors. So, um, so first of all, so when we get into inappropriate sexual behaviors, obviously this is a conversation that we have to have with any of the parents of our clients because, it could be inappropriate touching of themselves, inappropriate touching of other people, and parents like to have a little say so when it comes to these type of topics. So um do you think parents should have a say in the type of programming when we're programming for this?
I say yes and no.
Yeah.
Um, I say that because I don't think that they should have complete say so in the programming, but they should have some kind of input. It should be a team effort. Only because the parents may have a perception of the behavior that's a little bit twisted, and we as the clinicians can help them have a better understanding of of how it's okay. This is still a natural thing to do. We just need to shape it into an appropriate way of doing it. So we don't want to shut the parent completely out, but then we also don't want to give them complete control either.
Right. So what do you say to those parents that are saying, they don't want their kid to have the inappropriate sexual behavior, let it be in the classroom, in the bathroom, they would rather their kid just do it at home.
Well, actually, this makes me think of one of my old clients. It was my 21-year-old client, back when I was kind of really first in the field. Um, like his challenge was, the masturbating and watching porn and things like that. His mom didn't want him doing it at all,
Mhm.
and it was to the point where she just went overboard and was just like, the cops can see your phone. So if you look up porn, then the cops are going to come in and come get you. And of course, him thinking about what she said, he looked up porn one time, then remember what she said, and got paranoid, went into the backyard, got an axe, and hacked his phone because he didn't want the cops to come and find him. And so we really just had to help her understand. So, okay, well, one, he is 21. And just like any other developing young man, he has those sexual urges that he wants to get out. And it is just about, it's not about telling him that porn is wrong. You can't watch porn, you can't masturbate, because there's not a single man in this world that has not watched porn, that has not masturbated. That's a stretch. I mean, there's probably some who are, like little monks or whatever. But
And
just,
women do it too. Women do it too. So I no, I'm just kidding.
yes, those living out in the real world or the normal world,
Right.
that's a regular thing. And so we had to help her understand. So, okay, well, if you're going to shut him out from doing it, then one, you're not stopping the urge from coming. So the urge will always be there. And he's going to find a way to satisfy that need, whether it's appropriate or inappropriate. So let's say we shut that out. Then he can go off and try to sexually assault someone or rape someone to get that urge out. Or we can just teach him how, okay, you can watch porn and masturbate in a private setting, like your room or the bathroom. And when we helped her have that perspective, then she was more open to, having that programming around those appropriate sexual behaviors. And then we were able to really just collaborate with her and be like, okay, what can this look like at home? How would you like it to look? So like that's kind of where I was saying, yes and no. It's like, okay, don't need complete control over it, but let's educate first. And then now that you have this new information, this new perspective, now let's work together to come up with, an appropriate program.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. It's kind of a yes and no. And what's funny is I remember when I was a baby BCBA, when these type of things came up, I would actually ask
Still a
them.
baby UCBA.
I know, but still, baby her BCBA. It's almost 4 years.
You was an infant to BCBA.
Yes, that. When that was happening and these things came up, I would ask the parent like, well, what kind of programming would you want to do? And of course, every parent's like, I don't want them to do that. But now as I've grown as a toddler BCBA, now I'm like, no, we're gonna let them do it. And it's more so now I'm gonna explain to the parents the same thing you said. Explain to the parents like why this is a need. And just because they have a disability, they're still 14, 15, 16, 22. And, if you're able to do it at your grown age, why can't this almost grown up do it as well? Um, and then so as you're having those conversations with parents, us as BCBAs also have to take out the personal of these conversations too. Because I mean, just because we know that they have inappropriate sexual behaviors or they're having a behavior in the bathroom, why are we taking that so personally? Is it because we know and now we don't want them to do that? Or is it because um well, it's really just because we know, but you don't know what other people do in the bathroom. So what do you think about the BCBAs that kind of take the no, it should be at home. They shouldn't really do it here. We shouldn't really promote it here. Um type of perspective. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't agree with it because the whole point of it is to make it appropriate. So for me, as long as it's in a private setting, like within a bathroom, where no one can see you, they can't hear you. I mean, I don't even care if it's in some separate room that's got shades down and you can lock the door or something. As long as it's in a private room, I think it's okay because you have, typically developing individuals who do that. They don't just reserve it for at home or
Mhm.
in the bathroom at home. Some people will do it in their own office, but they know how to, shut the shades, close the door, make sure nobody can come in. They'll do it in the bathroom at work. So I think it's just about, not even just I think, it's really just about letting them know of those specific settings within other settings
Mhm.
that are appropriate, that are private. If you are at Walmart and you feel the urge, Go in that bathroom, go in the stall and do what you got to do. It is in a private area. Now we may have to teach. Okay, let's let's keep the noise to a minimum.
You can watch porn that loud.
Exactly, but at least no one is watching. They're just gonna assume you in there doing your business. Now, if you're making noises and stuff. That's something else we're gonna have to shape. But no, I don't agree with that. That's trying to impede them from doing a natural behavior that all humans do. It's just we're more aware of when and where to do it. And we just have to teach them to do the same thing.
Yeah, and it would be much different if from what I've experienced, it's been inappropriate sexual behaviors as far as the kids disrobing or masturbating. It's not, I've never experienced anything where we're going up and we're touching other people appropriately, but it's starting to come up as a thing now, so I might do a part 2 on this. But as far as that, I kind of think it's part of our ethical considerations to give that autonomy and let the students have like that assent to go do whatever they feel like they need to do their business. um and it's kind of unethical for us to try to stop that, no matter if it's at the school, if it's at the bathroom at the school, no matter where it is. Like, we're kind of taking away that assent. Thoughts on that?
That I was just about to say, like, ascent is a big piece that is really starting to become important and like emerge within our field right now. Because I just think, no, let me stop saying think. Traditionally, ABA has been a lot of, okay, we're going to create this so we can have you do this because this is what we think is best for you.
Right.
And you know, the field has just been, neglecting the actual wants and desires of the client.
Mhm.
Especially those who have who have the skills to vouch for themselves, to say what they want, how they feel. And I think that that's a huge piece to bring up. It's like we're taking that assent away from them, and that's part of what gives ABA a bad name or bad taste in some people's mouths. Because let's be honest, we mold them to how we think they should be in the environment, or how we think they should be normal and fit in with everybody else,
Mhm.
instead of, okay, what is it that you want, what is it that you feel, and then we work with that. So no, I think that's a huge piece to tap into, is that assent.
So when you're talking about this with parents and you're trying to explain assent, but then you have a parent that's dead set on they don't want the program, and where do you go from there? Do you just, maybe we're not the service providers for you? I'm not going across my ethical bounds for this situation, cut services? Do we let the student just keep doing what they're doing? Where do you go?
At that point, if the parent is just dead set on not doing anything about it at all, then I will be very transparent with them, and I will give them the realities. Okay, well, this is your reality. Since we're not going to address it this way, here is how here's the timeline of how this behavior could evolve. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, they're going to look for other, like what I was saying earlier, they're going to look for other ways to meet that need. And that could involve sexually assaulting people. It goes from touching themselves to touching others. um or God forbid, they rape somebody. And
Right.
so it's like, I know that's a very hard conversation to have with parents, and some people may shy away from it, but honestly, those parents need to hear that hard truth for them to really understand. It's like, okay, you want them doing, sexual assault, or they're masturbating in private. They're not breaking the law down here. They're not harming anybody down here. They're not causing trauma for someone else down here. And I don't think parents think about that piece. So I would say that. And if you still just set on not doing it, then baby, it's above me. Ain't nothing else I can do.
Nothing
I'm
else
a
you can say. This your kid.
take my hands off of it. I'll be like, okay, I educated the parent. I said this, I said that. And if whatever I said comes to fruition and you decide you would like to move forward, I'll be here waiting for you.
Right. And I know that BCBAs kind of try to stay in their lane and in their scope, but and when they get a contentious parent, they're more so inclined to just side with the parent. But for these type of situations, because it can go left very quickly, you can't just you got to try your hardest not to back down. And just because if you're a BCBA and you worked with, the younger students, the young kids coming up with this inappropriate sexual behaviors too, with them seeing sexy red, everybody's seeing baddies, like they're doing all the stuff from Zeus. They're seeing all of the
Oh,
sexual.
not Zeus. I didn't know they was doing that.
We
Lord,
gonna say
have
that.
mercy.
No,
Why did
all
you
the
babies
things,
watching Zeus?
all the things. But as you're exposed to that, you can't, shy away from those conversations with the parents. If anything, now, we're talking about inappropriate sexual behaviors with teenagers, but the kids are starting to get younger and younger and younger and experiencing these things.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to bring up to parents as well. It's like times are different. Kids are exposed to more explicit content more often, a lot more easily.
Mhm.
I was just seeing somewhere on, I think it was like a comment on Instagram, and it was a video of women modeling lingerie, and someone had commented it just like years ago, like you would have to like pay serious money to even see women dressed up and stuff like this.
Right.
I opened up Instagram and boom, it's right there in my face, and I wasn't even trying to find it. So that's another perspective to like let parents in on. It's just like, no matter what you try to do to shut it out, they're going to see it. They're either going to seek it themselves because it's so accessible, or
Mhm.
because it's so accessible, they may inadvertently see it from somebody else or through some other
Where
app.
a way you don't even want them to see, something you don't even want them to see, they gonna see it anyway. So the point of where I got with these questions was because we had this situation kind of come up for me 2 weeks ago where the student was basically disrobing in the middle of the classroom, and the teachers obviously thought that this was a huge crisis. They ran around the entire school looking for me to tell me that it was disrobing and they were not sure what to do. Um, so my suggestion and my recommendation was send her to the bathroom. And she needs to be asking to go to the bathroom. If she needs to disrobe, put her clothes back on. And I couldn't quite understand how she was getting all her clothes off in the middle of the classroom anyway, but that's neither here nor there. Um, but put your clothes back on and go to the bathroom and allow her that time to go into the bathroom. So as I'm explaining this to my about to be RBT, she's telling me that she doesn't think that we should be allowing her or promoting that she goes into the bathroom and take care of her business, because that's where this disrobing was about to lead into. She needed to release herself. So the potential RBT is telling me she did not think it was appropriate to promote this, to let her do that, to allow her to do it. And I'm trying to nicely explain to her that this is still a girl. She still has needs. She's still a human. I get that we're in a self-contained classroom, but she still she still is able to do the same things other people can go into the bathroom and do. And then I further have to explain to her, just because she's going into the bathroom to do that, you don't know what anybody else in this room goes into the bathroom and do. It's a private place. You don't know if I go into the bathroom and do anything weird. You don't know if the teacher next to you goes into the bathroom and do anything weird. It's only an issue because you know what the student is going into the bathroom to do. If you didn't know, you wouldn't have an issue. Um, any comments on that?
Yeah, I would also ask the RB team, okay, what do you propose that we do? You're telling me what you think is not helpful. Awesome. Thank you for your input. What do you think will be helpful? Because one of my big things, especially when I work with my teachers, is like that's fine, voice your opinion, complain if you need to, but give a solution. Don't just give a complaint and then I give you a solution. Oh no, or you give another solution. No, okay. So it sounds like you just don't want that solution.
Hmm.
I'm giving you something that's going to work. You just don't like it. But another, well, we have to like, or at least like what I try to redirect people with is like, what is the goal? The goal with this is privacy.
Right.
Like, y'all don't want her just rolling in front of everybody. We want it to be in private. So that her going to the bathroom, we're achieving that privacy, you know. And that's just what I try to do a lot with teachers is like, okay, what is your goal? What did you what was the out what is it that you wanted to happen, as a result of requesting support? And when they tell me that goal and the goal matches up with the solution that I proposed, they're like, okay, now well, the solution matches your goal. So it, do you really want this goal to be achieved or not? And that really gets people thinking about it there. Because then it makes it seem like that they're going to be impeding progress, and they
Mhm.
don't want to be the reason why progress is impeded.
Well, and as I know, in the school setting, ABA kind of takes the back seat. Education and discipline and all of these things are kind of at the forefront. Um, so as you're trying to explain these things, they don't see the end goal. They just see right now
There's
she's getting naked. Right now she's getting naked. They don't see the whys. They don't see the where are we trying to get to from here? Where do we go next? They just see she's getting naked and it needs to stop. But like you said, we're able to see what is the reasoning and what is the goal of this, and it is to get her to go and do that stuff in the bathroom. So you're as a BCBA, and I think Josh, you probably would agree with this too. There's sometimes when we do programming that we get pushback from parents, but we also will get pushback from our RBTs as well. Somebody that we are telling the programming to, they're going to push back and give their unsolicited opinion. And not that we value all opinions, but also um again, you just have to take the personal out of it. It's just that's your personal feelings, and just because it's a personal feeling, you can't take away from your client's autonomy. You can't do that.
look, there's that saying, don't take behavior personally.
Oh yeah. Ooh, and I used to take it so personal back in the day. Now it's just rolls off my back. Nothing gets to me now.
Just again,
Yes, now I'm like, okay. But any closing thoughts on this one? Inappropriate sexual behaviors and any other inappropriate sexual behaviors you've experienced? Anybody touching other people? Has it ever gotten that far yet?
oh, definitely. That's definitely something that's emerging right now, but it's more like in the gen ed setting. And I'm working with the principal to address that. Um, yeah, it's just a lot of the kids are just getting curious. And I think it is because of like what you said earlier. They're just exposed to it at such a young age. And now they're just like, ooh, I wonder, what that part of your body feels like or what that looks like, and they genuinely are curious, but they also don't understand how serious it is that you cannot touch someone. And so it's really about trying to find an effective way to communicate that to kids. And this is when I say kids, this is happening like first grade, second grade,
Mm-hmm. Wow,
and
young.
helping them understand this is a serious matter. Like, but in their minds, they don't see it as serious. They're just like, I was curious, so I touched it. Or I was curious, so I looked at it. But it's like they knew it was wrong, but they don't know the magnitude of how wrong of what they did was.
Right.
Um, yeah, and it's just when I say like that social media and just everything on TV, everything on the internet, it makes it a lot harder to combat this stuff.
It does.
It it really does. And then like the downside with education is just like, what you say, like academics, curriculum, discipline, that all is priority. And it's just like, okay, we need to start looking at, okay, what is the root cause of this? The kids are not exposed to this stuff appropriately. They're not being educated on this stuff. I know
Mm-hmm.
like back when I was in school, we did like a whole lesson in fifth grade where, and we had to get permission from our parents, where they literally taught us about the sexual reproductive organs of males and females. They
Mm-hmm.
talked to us about sex and STDs, STIs. And it's like, we're kind of having to start having that conversation even earlier, because kids are getting exposed to it early. I'm not saying you got to be, talking to first grade about the vagina and how the penis goes in the vagina and all that. You ain't got to talk about all that. But, like a first grade friendly version of the same conversation.
Yeah.
and it's not being done in schools. They're just trying to brush it under the rug, and it's like this isn't going away.
Mm-mm.
So instead of trying to ignore it or punish it with in-school suspensions and timeouts and out-of-school suspensions, educate the kids. Have regular lessons on that safe and appropriate touch. What it looks like, what it doesn't look like, what makes people feel comfortable, what makes people feel uncomfortable. I literally had to act it out with one of the students. He had inappropriately touched someone else, and I was like, well, how do you think that made them feel? And he was like, oh, well, maybe mad or sad. I was like, well, do you know what uncomfortable means? And he was like, he said something and it wasn't what uncomfortable was. So like I got like super close to him, like all up in his space. And he was just like, and I was like, how did that make you feel? And he was like, kind of weird. And I was like, that's what being uncomfortable feels like. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
when you did such and such to so and so, that's how it made them feel. So did you enjoy feeling like that? It's like, no. Well, do you think the other person enjoyed feeling like that? No. Had no more issues out of them. But it's like we have to take out the time, meaningful time to really teach them because they don't know. It really is innocent. Well,
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, it's innocent. um,
For the younger kids, it's kind of
yeah.
it.
I would say it's always innocent. Um, but it's just unfortunately that's just we have more control over that, if it's in a clinical setting.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, in the school setting, you're up against, the culture of the school and the policy of the district and all these other things that we don't have the authority to, overturn and whatnot. But yeah, that's the reality of education right now.
And we're on the flip side of it because I mean, we do have the kids touching other kids, but now we have to start having conversations about, well, when somebody touches you, I need you to do this and I need you to come tell somebody. It's great that you told a friend, but now the teacher didn't hear about it until 4 days later. And now I can't do anything to such and such because it's been 4 days and we can't suspend him. It happened 4 days ago. Like we can have conversations, but again, it's been 4 days. It's been too long. You've already forgotten about it. Y'all are in the self-contained classroom, so there y'all have disabilities, these things, it waited out too long. So we're having conversations around inappropriate touching of others, but then now we're having to say when somebody touches you and in these places, say something. So we're on both ends of it over on this side of the park. But that's another big skill to teach too, that if you don't want somebody touching you need to tell them, and then you need to tell somebody if that does happen. That's another important skill to teach that BCBAs, when I was in the clinic, we weren't really focusing on that. We're focusing on, the DTT, the NET of socializing and playing with others. It might be the day and age that we're in, because, we were RBTs like 6, 7 years ago. Where I mean they just weren't exposed to these things, but now we have to have these conversations. Anything else to add?
No, that's all I look. You know me, I could talk for hours.
Well, before
I'm
Josh
not gonna bore you. I'm not gonna bore your viewers.
well, there'll probably be a part 2 to this, but Josh is coming back in, let's say, July, so we
Okay.
can hear about his transition from school, primarily school, practicum experience, school setting. He's been working as a BCBA, school setting, first time going clinic BCBA. First time going clinic BCBA. We will hear about that, if he likes it, if he hates it. If he hates it, we're gonna hear a lot about that one because I'm gonna dig way deep into that. Pros and cons, what's the different, what's same? We're gonna hear about it all. Right, Josh?
I'm ready for this one.
I'm gonna give you a month to get in there and get all into the meat and grease of it. And then we're gonna come back to see how is it going.
Come on now, y'all stay tuned.
Please stay tuned. Um, I don't know what the next topic is gonna be about, but hopefully we will have Josh back before July.
I would definitely.
Well, thank you. And like, comment, and subscribe and ask questions. But bye.